Hi, welcome to the first class of Kids Can Engineer. I'm Miss Gonzalez.
I'm Mr. V.
Before we get started, you'll need a few things from around the house. You'll need a rubber band, an empty can, and if you don't have an empty can, you can use a glass or you can use an empty jar. Go ahead and hit pause. We'll wait here until you get back. So the first thing we're going to ask you to do today is close your eyes and listen. What do you hear? Those are all examples of sounds. Close your eyes and listen again. Are those examples of sounds too? What's the difference between and? When you hear this sound, how does it make you feel? How do you feel when you hear this sound? When sounds don't bring a good feeling, we sometimes call them noise. They are not pleasant to our ears. This sound is pleasant because someone wrote the song using sounds that would make our ears happy. These sounds, which are made using instruments, have many notes, and together the notes make music.
Let's look at sound.
Let's pluck the rubber band gently. Does it make a sound? It sure does.
Let's try this at home. Find a rubber band and an empty can. I didn't have an empty can, so I'm going to use a glass bottle. Take your rubber band and wrap it around the glass bottle or can. Great job. You just made your first instrument. Go ahead and pluck the rubber band. Does it make a sound like this?
If we look very, very closely, we can see that the rubber band is moving back and forth.
Pluck the rubber band again. Do you see the rubber band moving back and forth? Do you feel the glass or can shaking? It's shaking because when we pluck the rubber band, it's making everything around it vibrate.
When something vibrates, it moves back and forth really fast. So fast, in fact, that our eyes often can't see it moving. When we pull on the rubber band and let it go, we're causing it to vibrate. These vibrations travel into the air, making the air particles move through the air to our ears in a sound wave.
Mr. V, the vibration makes the air move? But how does that work?
Let's look at this using another instrument, a bell.
When we ring a bell, we cause the metal that makes up the bell to vibrate really fast back and forth. And the vibration of the bell also shakes up the particles that make up the air around it and makes them vibrate. Then those particles run into the air particles next to them, and so on. You can also think about it like dominoes, with the vibration getting passed along from one bunch of particles in the air to the next. We call this path of vibration a wave. Now, how do we hear those vibrations? If we could look deep inside our ears, we'd see a special little part that kind of looks like the top of a drum. When sound waves make it all the way to and into our ears, they make this part of our ear vibrate. The vibrations keep going, moving even deeper into our ear until they finally get to the spot that sends a message to our brain. And that message says, "Hey, we're hearing something!"
That's pretty cool, huh? Let's look at some other instruments. What we made is an example of a string instrument because the rubber band is a type of string. Can you think of other instruments that use strings? You might have said guitar or violin or harp. Another type of instrument is a percussion instrument. A percussion instrument vibrates when we bang things together, if we strike something, or if we shake something. Can you think of examples of percussion instruments? You might have said a bell or drums, cymbals, xylophones, or maracas?
Let's imagine that this confetti are the tiny particles that make up air, the air molecules, right? When the skin of the drum vibrates, it makes the air molecules, the confetti, also vibrate and bounce into the air.
Oh, I think we're going to see this much better if we use my super slow-mo camera. OK, go. So there's the hit. It sets the drum skin vibrating. It chucks that musical confetti into the air just like the air molecules are vibrating above the drum skin. And you can still see the skin vibrating.
When we strike, shake, or hit something, it vibrates and causes the air particles to vibrate too.
And the final type of instrument are wind instruments. A wind instrument is one that we blow air into. Can you think of an example of a wind instrument? You might have said a whistle, a flute, a trumpet, or even a saxophone. Let's try something together. Hold your hand out in front of your mouth and blow into your hand. Did you feel the air hitting your hand? What we're feeling on our hand is the air that we're blowing bouncing onto our hand and into the surrounding air particles and making those air particles vibrate. Just like when we blow into our hand, when we blow into a wind instrument like this slide whistle, the air we blow bounces around inside the whistle and makes the air particles vibrate. We hear sounds because something like plucking a string, hitting a drum, or blowing is making air particles vibrate, which is making air particles around them vibrate, which makes our eardrums vibrate, letting our brains know that we hear sound.
Kids in the Ear, Music Edition.